The United Nations says we're going to have 9 billion people in this world by 2050. That's not that far away. They need to be fed, they need to be clothed, they need to be housed, they need to have fuel and energy. Much of this is going to come from the bioeconomy.
Iowa State's STEM emphasis is targeted to help make the world's bioeconomy efficient and productive so it can serve the needs of a growing population served by limited resources. The school's Plant Sciences Institute is working on designing the next generation of plants that will help feed a growing population. This initiative is a collaborative, interdisciplinary research project involving engineers and plant scientists at Iowa State.
The bioeconomy term appeared maybe a decade or so ago. We know that the non-renewable resources that we depend on are, by definition, non-renewable. We're going to run out of them someday. So in order to produce the feedstocks, the industrial feedstocks that help us run our economy, we need to find ways to produce these in plants and other renewable sources.
Water is very important to crops and for all of us, but it's going to become more and more important in the 21st century because we need to feed more people, we have more land, and at the same time the climate is changing.
The Smart Plants initiative here at Iowa State is to use first principles to understand from the perspective of engineering how water moves through vessels, which plants have vessels and water moves through it. If we can understand those fundamental principles, we can design, using traditional breeding approaches, we can design plants that will be better adapted to drought, for example.
Plants are much more complex systems. You have a whole lot of microbes under the soil, the weather conditions are changing, so that's why we collaborate with those plant scientists. We learn their language, we teach them our language.
The smart comes in where we can use our intelligence to make them even better, more adaptable to adverse weather conditions, for example, or more productive.
And we have now a model of the plant water use and sugar production that is in a computer. So we can do breeding in a computer and look at what happens if we change, for example, some of the genes that control the transpiration of the plant.
Iowa State's Plant Sciences Institute has recently recalibrated its focus to further advance the school's vision of being a world leader into smart plants research.
First, we've changed our research focus. Can we predict what this plant will look like if we know its DNA and the environment that it's growing in? Seriously, this is really important. Our species faces enormous challenges over the next several decades, and the sort of research that we're doing here and many other scientists around the world, both in the private sector and the public sector, is absolutely essential.
So the fact that we're focusing on this, we're really addressing perhaps the most critical problem in society over the next 50 years, feeding our citizens.
For the Big 12 Digital Network, I'm Wendell Barnhouse.